DUI dispute. One Phoenix officer racking up DUI arrests against drivers whose blood tests later showed no alcohol nor drugs.
But even after charges were dropped against them, police officials doubt the drivers were actually sober. Here's ABC 15 investigator Melissa Blasius.
Tasha McConnell had to take another day off work to fight against a driver's license suspension. This after she was arrested for DUI on a July afternoon by two Phoenix cops near Joe Max and Cave Creek. One of them, David Morris, is a certified drug recognition expert, a DRE.
He asked me if I was on marijuana. He insisted that I was on harder drugs.
Tasha told him the only drugs in her system were antibiotics, but Officer Morris keyed in on eyelid and body tremors. Tasha asked the officers to record this video of her eyes as proof because she was in so much disbelief.
It was awful to be placed under arrest. I knew I'd done nothing wrong.
The police lab report confirmed this. No drugs met the laboratory criteria. Tasha assumed her arrest was a fluke until she saw this ABC 15 report.
I was falsely accused, yes.
63-year-old Jim Brongo was arrested by the same two officers, saying he had bloodshot, watery eyes, slurred speech, and failed a field sobriety test. Brongo's blood work showed he, too, was clean.
It's been very frustrating. I lost a lot of nights sleeping.
That's a 1701.
Driving in his Camaro last year, Mike Toth was pulled over for failing to maintain his lane. The same two officers arrested him, again, for DUI drugs.
And then they wanted me to do a heel to toe, walk a straight line, which I told them I might have difficulties doing that because I'm handicapped. And they immediately arrested me and handcuffed me.
He says he told the officers his only drug use was antacid for heartburn.
And they said, well, that could impede your judgment skills. And I was like, heartburn pills?
ABC 15 has been looking at Officer David Morris's DUI arrests, 56 in the last year and a half. In 9 of those cases, charges were dismissed against the drivers due to lack of evidence after lab tests showed either they were under the legal limit or they had no drugs or alcohol in their system.
Do you understand what being arrested for DUI when you're sober, the impact it can have on somebody?
I don't. I wouldn't agree with sober. You're saying a person's sober. Clear tox does not necessarily exonerate a person beyond any shadow of a doubt.
Phoenix Police Detective Kemp Layden is the coordinator for all drug recognition experts statewide. He says officers can detect impairment through their training, observations, field sobriety tests, and drug recognition exams. It is the blood tests, he says, that can miss things because they don't test for all intoxicating substances. I asked about Tasha's case.
Certainly antibiotics aren't intoxicating.
Not usually, no, but without knowing specifically what antibiotic.
Layden says he's reviewed some of Officer Morris's DUI cases.
I don't have concerns about David Morris on the things that I've seen.
And if the prosecutor decides to drop a case for lack of evidence?
That's the system. I can't control anything beyond that.
I was honestly hoping for an apology.
Tasha McConnell says both officers in her case failed to show up at her latest hearing. She did want to face them again.
They know they're above the law.
The imbalance of power with police, real or perceived, concerns both Mike and Tasha.
They're just allowed to take whoever they want off the street and they can arrest you. You have to go through all of this and they just get away with it.
Do you feel for these people at all?
I can sympathize with anybody that's arrested. It's a traumatic experience for anybody that is arrested, but that wouldn't change our mission of public safety and the standards that have been set forth.
In Phoenix, I'm investigator Melissa Blasius, ABC 15 Arizona.